Hey guys, just wanted to make a quick notification type thing at the beginning of this video for those of you who don't know what Tiny Leaders actually is. Also, I'd like to apologize in advance if my voice is kind of off. I haven't been feeling so great since Friday, and I'm sorry about that. Anyways, Tiny Leaders. Name of the game is Converted Mana Cost 3 or less. It's a commander type format, meaning that you do have a commander or general. This means that you always have a creature more or less to cast from the command zone for its converted mana cost, unless of course it dies, in which there's an additional 2 colorless cost in order to cast the commander. So even the commander has to be converted mana cost to 3 or less, which is where the name Tiny Leaders comes from. So color identity comes from the converted mana cost as well as the activated abilities on the card. So just be careful of that. So for instance, things like Yasova's triggered ability at the beginning of combat, and the cost in order to fulfill that triggered ability add to her color identity, making her a functional team or commander. So yeah, no spells over 3 converted mana cost. Trust me guys, there's a lot of wicked spells that fall into that category. One of my favorite being a 5/6 for 3 mana. Now you might be going, what? There must be some insane drawback. And it's not a fantastic drawback, but putting a creature you control on top of your library isn't necessarily the worst thing you could do. I've seen much worse drawbacks in cards, so, you know, you might see a synergy there with some of the undying creatures I have in the deck, so it's not necessarily the worst thing ever. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hey guys, it's Storm here again, and I wanted to do a quick Tiny Leaders deck tech, and this is my first attempt at one, and I sat down for a couple hours and kind of pondered through the stuff I wanted, and this is what I came to. So my Tiny Leader is Yasova Dragonclaw. She is a 4/2 for 3 mana, and she has Trample, and at the beginning of each combat you can pay 1 and 2 is it hybrid mana and take control of target creature with power less than Yasova Dragonclaw. Now the deck kind of plays around with this and takes advantage of that. So let's just quickly start with the land base. Before we really get into this though, there are 3 lands that are stand-ins for my stand-ins for the deck because lands are expensive. So 2 of them came from my normal commander deck and the other came from my standard. So if you see different sleeves, that's why. So we have 1 basic mountain, 2 basic islands, 2 basic forests, a single fetch land, wooded foothills, a breeding pool, a stomping ground. Our pain lands are Kerplusen Forest and Shivan Reef. Our check lands are Rootbound Crag and Hinterland Harbor. And our scry lands are Temple of Mystery and Temple of Abandon. And our kind of utility-esque lands are Halimar Depths, Skarg the Rage Pits, and of course, Frontier Bivouac. So that's all the lands out of the way. So I suppose it would be a safe assumption that we could move on to something like, oh, I don't know, the main portion of the deck. sarcasm and joking aside, let's get to it. So, Ancestral Visions. We have Birds of Paradise, a Young Wolf, Rancor, Forced Adaptation, Hardened Scales, Brainstorm, Index, Dest Corona, Isochron Scepter, Swiftfoot Boots, Strangleroot Geist, Mistcutter Hydra, Impulse, Tigum Scheming, Breakthrough, Mog War Marshal, Fling, Goblin Bombardment, Hammer of Perforos, Champion of Lambolt, Leatherback Baloth, Hooded Hydra, Genesis Hydra, Goblin Rabblemaster, Goblin Chieftain, Browbeat, Hordling Outburst, Null Tread Gargantuan, Savage Knuckleblade, Fires of Yavimaya, and Domri Raid. Now, you might have noticed a trend there, which was a whole lot of sack effects, or things to take advantage of Isochron Scepter, or just dig through my deck as quickly as possible. It only came to this because of the rulings of Tiny Leaders, which are converted mana cost to 3 or less, so I immediately went, oh, well, I can steal their stuff and sack it away with a Fling on Isochron Scepter, or normally sack them away after combat to Goblin Bombardment, get myself some Impulse or Brainstorm under my Isochron Scepter and use it every single turn. I've got a whole bunch of nasty critters in here that are extremely efficient for their mana costs. My number one favorite being the Null Tread Gargantuan, considering it's a 5/6 for 3 mana, and the only drawback is you have to put a creature on top of your library from the battlefield, which you probably won't care about that much, considering there's a very high synergy with Goblin Bombardment and creatures with Undying, because you just kind of go, okay, I'll put it on top of my library and then put it on the battlefield and then attack you with it if it's a Strangleroot, and then sack it and deal another damage to you, and then have a 3/2 ready to go, untapped. So, you know, that's a thing. I did make a sideboard as well, so let's just get into that before we finish off this video. So, we have Electrickery, Volcanic Fallout, Breaking Point, Lightning Bolt, Turn and Burn, Simic Charm, Swerve, Counterflux, Sulfuric Vortex, and Relic of Progenitus. Now, I'm going to explain why some of these were there, starting from the beginning. Sorry, here we go. Electrickery deals with token-based strategies very easily. Volcanic Fallout will pretty much wipe the board no matter what, unless you're kind of running something similar to me, considering it's 2 damage to everything, including you and your creatures, for 3 mana, and did I mention it can't be countered? Electrickery, is 1 damage to target creature you don't control, or you overload it and do 1 damage to every creature you don't control, which gets around hexproof, which is pretty handy. Breaking Point is pretty much the only Wrath type effect that is genuinely a Wrath type effect that Teamer has, which it's a really good one, if nothing else, considering it's 3 mana. Your opponent has to choose whether to take 6 damage to the face, which means this is a super efficient burn spell, or you just wipe the board and the creatures can't be regenerated. So, you know, that's a thing. Lightning Bolt, I was thinking about Flame Slash, but then again, Lightning Bolt to the face is always really efficient. Turn and Burn, because being a jerk and turning their thing that they're attacking with into a 0-1 and then burning their face as you eat the 0-1 is pretty funny and not to mention rude. Simic Charm to fizzle spells or pump things, or just, you know, you return a creature to your hand. Swerve, because making them Lightning Bolt or Flame Slash their own creature is pretty funny. Counterflex, because it's uncounterable and it's a counter spell and it fits in the colors and the mana cost. I actually probably would have preferred Last Word, but it's too much mana. Sulfuric Vortex if you want to get really cheeky, or if you're up against life gain. And Relic of Progenitus to deal with those outlying Reanimator type strategies. Although I have a feeling that with things like Exhume, Funeral Charm, Reanimate, Animate Dead, Necromancy, Buried Alive, Dark Ritual, and things of that nature, it's not going to take very long for people to start just going absolutely crazy with a Reanimator theme. But that's just a thought. It's not necessarily what's going to happen. Anyways, that's it for the deck tech. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to hit me up in the comments section. I'll be sure to reply as quickly as I can. And until next time, guys, I hope you have a good day.